Hey everyone, I'm Paul with MadCap Software. We're on video 4 out of 10 on our learning and development video series for MadCap Flare. In this video, we are going to take a look at updating the TOC because we've already done some work. We created our project. We got some content in there. And now we want to go look at our TOC, which is going to control the flow of the course. So let's get started. We're going to begin by actually cleaning up our TOC because we already have one in our from our project template. We just need to clean it up a little bit and go from there. Let's hop into Flare and let's take a look at our TOC. All right, so here we are in our project. We've already done some work. Let's say that we've added a whole, we've really got our content. We got a lot of it done. We're feeling good about it. So the next thing we want to do is go into our TOC, even though I do have gibberish in here. I left gibberish, but we're just going to go with that. All right, so in the project organizer, got the TOCs folder, and you can see this project template came with a couple of TOCs. One is designed for online course, and another was designed, which really works as an outline for our PDF output. Now, I do want multiple TOCs actually, because I am going to have a course for San Diego, for Chicago, for New York, and maybe more in the future. So I actually am going to have multiple TOCs. But first of all, let's clean this one up. And let's say this is going to be used for our San Diego course. And I can actually click in here and rename this. Again, problems with the typing at the angle. And I have to update the links because things are in there. So now I got my San Diego TOC. I know it's just for that course. And it already came with stuff in it. And I say clean up the TOC because notice that some of these things have flags and it looks bizarre in here. That's because I removed some topics earlier and it said, hey, do you want to remove the links? And I said, yeah, remove the links. So whenever you're missing a link in the TOC, it's going to show like this. That's what these are. These are linked. All of these are just links to topics in our TOC over here. And so to clean this up, I am going to delete that. I'm going to click on this and press delete on my keyboard, press delete on my keyboard. And I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this Austin quiz for now because I want to add it fresh just to show you. And I'm actually going to remove a couple of things here because we're going to apply them later in the conditional text or the single sourcing video. And I want to kind of start with a fresh TOC here. So I'm just removing a few things so that you don't see the color. This is what you would really start seeing when you start adding things into your TOC. And so I've cleaned this thing up and it's a decent start. And so we're probably we might need to rearrange some things. We just kind of need to look over here. This welcome link that goes with this, even though it doesn't say welcome in the title here. I might change the wording of this, the font or the file name to say welcome, so that it's just easier to link to that, to understand that that goes with that. History, that goes with that. Music goes with that. I got a first knowledge check that I just tucked in here. That's that. I got beer, and that goes with that. Second knowledge check, that's there. And I got the San Diego Zoo right there. Maybe though, I want my first knowledge check to be done there. I'll move that up. And my second knowledge check to be there. And kind of have cleaned this up a bit. I've got most of my topics in here, but not all of them yet. I'm going to do that later in a different section. For now, I just kind of wanted to clean this up a bit, have this fresh start. And I'm going to save this. Click in the upper left corner. Now, I have this one TOC, and that's what I'm focused on for now is the San Diego course. But I know in the future that I am going to have a New York and a Chicago TOC because I'm going to have courses for those. So I just want to show you real quick, adding a new TOC, it's easy like anything else. Right click on the folder and say, add table of contents. And now I can name this thing. For example, I'll name it Chicago TOC. Okay, and it's going to add it over here. And this is just going to start with some placeholders, which you'll replace in the future. The other thing that you can do is you can, like you do a lot of things, you can make a copy and paste it and then make your changes. So I can right click on this and say copy and paste, and it's going to make a copy of my Chicago one. And now I just click on that and I go in and change it to New York. So New York TOC, and it's the same. And so that gives you a better idea of what's going on here. I'm not going to have just one TOC for everything, although depending on what you're doing, depending on your purposes, you can share one TOC file for multiple outputs. And actually, we're going to do that in this course. But sometimes it's easier to have multiple TOCs to break things out like that. That's why I did that. This primary thing that you see at the end of this one, don't worry about that at all. Don't lose any sleep. That's not important in this course to talk about that. All right, so that's cleaning up the TOC. And we added a couple of new TOC files while we were at it. So let's go into the next section where we're just going to add some more. We're going to add some more things into our TOC, add some more topic links into the TOC. All right, so this section is going to be super, super easy, adding topic links into the TOC. Let's check that out. Okay, so there are different ways to add topic links into the TOC. One of the ways that you can do it is just click this button right here. This will add, or this one right here will add a new entry in here like this, and it goes wherever your cursor was, this thing was selected. So I put it right under it, and then I could rename this and I could link it to the thing, and you can create new books like this by clicking this one, and it'll add a book with one underneath it. So you can do those things. I'm going to undo. That's fine. But the thing is, it's just easier to click and drag from the TOC. So I already have all of my course content in there for now. If I add more course content, I will click and drag something over into there. Now I have my first knowledge check, second knowledge check. I want to get a third knowledge check in there. So I'm going to click and drag, and maybe I'll put it right. I'll put it right there for now. Okay. And so that's what it did. And the text is blue, which means that it's linked to this thing, and it's already giving me, I don't have to change the label. If I open up the topic, you're going to see the heading. It's doing it based on a couple. Actually, if I right click this and the topic, there's topic title up here. So if I could put anything in for my topic title, I'm not going to. I want it to use my heading. It's just, see, if I click off of it, it says always use first topic heading. And so the entry in your TOC is going to be the same thing as your topic title. And if you leave that blank, it's going to be your heading. That's why it's like that. That's why the text is blue. If I added something brand new like this, the text is black. And then I could just click in here and add anything for the label. And I could open up the properties. So you do it like this, right click and properties. And I could go in and I could link it. I could say what topic I want to link it to. And it's just extra steps, but that's why the text, you would see text black like that. Just a little bit of FYI about how this thing works. Okay, now we've got our third knowledge check in there. The only stuff we don't have is our test. And so we want our test in what's called a test node, which we're going to talk about in the next section. But I could quickly, there's a couple of ways to create the test node. But first of all, I'm going to do this by just getting stuff into my TOC, first of all. And so the way to do that is, I know that my first entry is this one right here, this intro, and I'm going to drag it down at the bottom because I want it to be the very last thing. It says Austin test. And now I want to drag these things underneath it so that they're indented, so that this will become a book initially. So question one, drag it over. If I dropped it like that, where the blue arrow is now, it would be a sibling. It would be right underneath it. But if I keep going and I get that down arrow, now it's underneath it. Keep going. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right there. Oops, I messed up. And if you need to, you can always use these arrow buttons to adjust things, move things around. But there you go. That is how easy it is to add things into a TOC. So we're just thinking about what comes first in the course and work our way from beginning to end. That's it. So what we're going to do next, though, there is something special that needs to be done for our test. Not the knowledge checks, but the test, so that Flare knows that it is a test, that it's gradable. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next section. We now have our TOC together for the most part, but we want to deal with this test node thing. So let's go in and do that. Okay, so in this case, I just went ahead and dragged this stuff in. So these are just like regular topics. There's nothing special about them that actually makes them a test. I have every intention of doing it. So you can add test nodes, make things test nodes in a couple of ways. So if you have something like this where you've already dragged things in, just open up the properties for this first one. And this topic doesn't have a question in it. I just created this as like, here's the beginning of your test. And it's just text, and then they click next and they're into it. That's how I decided to do this one. So I'm going to right click this and select properties, or you can press F4. And did I get it? Sometimes it doesn't get it at the bottom of the screen if I don't do it just right. There it is. All right, so it brings up this properties dialog where you can set lots of things for any entry in a TOC. What we're interested in is this eLearning tab here. And if I click Enable Test Node, now that thing is a test node, right? And now I can specify other options in it. I could say randomized test answers, which is, I think, a good idea. And so I'm going to select that. Do you want to limit their retries? Well, all right, you can do that. You can give them specify they get to try a certain number of times, or you could decide not to do that. Passing score, what's the score they got to get? Now, by default, it's 75%, but maybe you're a tougher teacher and you say, no, you got to get 80%. And these last two things, a pass page and a fail page. Now, you saw when we generated the output in an earlier lesson, the test results just came up and it said name a course and you passed or you didn't pass and your score. And so you can just use that and you don't have to do anything. It just automatically happens. But maybe you want to set up separate pages for pass and fail. And so what you do is you create topics separately, and I'll show you that after we get out of this. So you can set those up and those topics, and then you point to those topics. And those topics have to have proxies in them so that they function as test results. So you can do that. I'm going to leave that blank for now. And then I'm just going to click OK. And I messed up. Notice that it's on question 6. I had it on the wrong thing when I did this. So I'm just going to undo real quick. These things happen. And I'm going to press F4 on Austin test, enable that, randomize. Let's do 80% and leave the rest. And OK. So yeah. So it's actually kind of, it's actually good when things like that happen in a video, because these are the things that happen in real life, and you have to figure out, why didn't that work? Well, it didn't work because I didn't have the right thing selected. So now you see that, all right, this is my test. And so everything under it, indented, that's a child of it, is part of that test. And this is graded. All these are graded because of this thing. So you can do that. I'm actually going to, for the moment, I'm going to click this and delete, because I want to show you another way to do this is to just click this button right here, test node, and it will add this, and then you could, put in whatever name test you want, and then you can double click this. So this is already set, and you would just change that to 80%, but then you have to go and you have to select what topic do you want it to go to, and ours is right there. Select that, and there it is. And now I can drag in all of these things again underneath. So it's just two different ways to do it. But notice that this is using the black text. It's not the blue text, because I didn't use that other method where I just dragged in the thing. So I'm going to undo this and get back to what I had. So just a couple of different ways that you can approach it. The main thing is, when you are in that properties dialog, this thing needs to be enabled, enable test node. And that's where you get that special icon. And that's how you know that you're good to go. All right, so that was adding the test node and the options. I did mention about the the pass fail pages, the proxies. I'm going to talk about that later in another video when we get into setting up the e-learning toolbar and the test results, because we need to talk about things like proxies and skins. That's in a later video, but that's going to do it for this video. Pretty quick one. And now we're going to move on in the next video to do some fun stuff, some single sourcing. So let's just move forward.